This one wants you to find the domain of f of g of x. So it's f of g of x. Okay, and g of x is the 2x plus 6. So you're going to put the 2x plus 6 into the f function. So all of this is going to go right here where the x is. So you're going to have the square root of 2x plus 6, which can't be simplified. So that is the domain of f of g of x, or sorry, that is the function f of g of x. And you want to know what the domain is. This is a radical. So you have to remember that the stuff under the radical, after you plug in a number for x, multiply 2 and add it to 6, that always has to be greater than or equal to 0, because you can't take the square root of negative numbers. So first thing I would do would be subtract the 6 and then divide by 2. So x has to be greater than or equal to a -3, which in interval notation would be -3 with brackets to infinity with parentheses. And that'd be your answer to that. Okay, and then number 13 wants you to find f of x and g of x such that h of x, which is given to you, is an f of g of x. So you're looking for an f of, switch this to blue, f of g of x. So when I look at this function, this one's kind of obvious to me because I got parentheses here. I've got something to the 9th power, and I just used the wrong color. Sorry. I got parentheses here. So what I'm seeing is something to the 9th power. I'm seeing x to the 9th power. That's what I'm seeing. That is my f of x. And then where those parentheses are, so what I'm seeing is this with g of x is the -6x minus 5. So I'm seeing that in blue. So I'm seeing g of x is -6x minus 5. So there's one answer, and there's the other. And I'm pretty sure that's the only possibility that we can get in this. Okay. Now for the next two, these are just multiple choice. I made it easy on you on these. It says, how can the graph of f of x equals a negative square root of x plus 8 be obtained from the graph of y equals the square root of x? Okay, starting with the plus 8, that is under the radical. So you have to see the opposite. Since it says plus 8, that means you're actually going to be moving 8 in the negative direction. So that would be 8 units horizontally to the left. And on A, they try to be sneaky by saying shift -8 units to the left. No. It's just 8 units to the left. So let's see. This one says horizontally 8 units to the left. This one says horizontally 8 units to the left. This one says horizontally 8 units to the right. So that one's out. And then this says -8 units, so that one's out. So I've narrowed it down to B or C, which brings in the other situation, which is there is a negative in front of the radical. So that's like saying a negative square root of x. Well, that was thick. That means that they are just putting a negative in front of the entire function, which means it flips it around the x-axis, not the y. So that one says y, that's out. It's choice B. B. Okay, on the next one, this one is moving around an x squared. So, let's see, I'll start with the same thing, so I have the pink color here. This one also has a negative in front of the entire function x minus 7 squared. So that's going to flip it across the x-axis. So it's, this one says across the x-axis, and this one says it's across the x-axis. The other two say across y. So A and C are out. And then this plus 6, that is being added to the stuff that is squared. So that's going to shift it 6 units upward. Shift it 6 units up. And this one also says 6 units up. Okay, that doesn't help. And then we've got the minus 7 inside the parentheses. Remember, when it's inside with the x away from the squared, you see the opposite. So instead of moving 7 to the left, you're moving 7 to the right horizontally. So horizontally 7 units to the right is this one. So it's D, because the other one says 7 units to the left. And then 16, I ask you to come up with the function. Write an equation for the function that has the graph of the given characteristics. You're starting with the y is equal to the absolute value of x. We are going to stretch it by a vertical factor of 3.6. That means you're going to have a coefficient in front of your function. And so I'm going to have a 3.6 right here. And then it says the graph is reflected across the x-axis. Okay. Boop. Reflect across the x-axis is going to put a negative in front of the entire function. So it'll be a negative 3.6. And then the last part says it is going to shift 0.63 units downward. So that means we're going to, if it goes up or down, there is something added or subtracted outside of the original function, which was the square root of, or the absolute value of x. And since we're going down, it'll be a minus 0.63. That's my answer. Okay, and I guess I got